AITA for telling my neighbor that if she throws things into my yard again, I'll throw everything in the trash. I moved into my small house about 4 years ago. It's nothing fancy, but it has a yard that I worked really hard to afford. I take care of it because it's one of the few peaceful spaces I have. My neighbor, Linda, 57, has lived here for over 3 decades. It's her family house. For the first 4 years we lived here, things were peaceful and we got along fine. 3 months ago, though, she decided she wanted to start a tomato garden and also keep frogs as pets or something like that. She built small wooden fences and turned part of her yard into what looks like a mini farm. Honestly, I didn't really care. It's her property and her choice. But then something strange started happening. I would walk outside into my yard and find rotten tomatoes on the ground. At first I assumed maybe birds or animals had dropped them. But then it kept happening. Rotten tomatoes, food scraps, plant waste, and sometimes frogs. The problem is, my dad moved in with me recently after he had a stroke. He's 71 years old and needs a cane to walk, because he can't safely use stairs anymore. I installed a small walking path in the backyard so he could move around safely. That yard is literally the only place where he can walk comfortably without risking a fall. So when I kept finding rotten vegetables and frogs in the yard, I got worried. The first time, I went to Linda's house and knocked politely. I explained the situation about my dad and asked her if she could please keep her garden things inside her own yard. She smiled, apologized, and said she'd take care of it. I thought the problem was solved, but nothing changed. If anything, it got worse. Every week there was something new in my yard. Rotten tomatoes, cardboard waste, plant scraps, old gardening tools. It honestly looked like she was cleaning her garden and tossing the leftovers over the fence into my yard. So I went to her again. This time I explained more clearly that my dad depends on that yard to walk safely, and I really needed her to stop throwing things over the fence. Again, she said she'd handle it. Again, nothing changed. Then the third incident happened. I was at work that day. My dad went outside to walk along the backyard path like he normally does. While he was walking, a frog suddenly jumped near his feet. It startled him badly. He lost his balance. Thankfully, he managed to grab onto the railing and didn't fall, but it scared him so much he stayed in bed for 2 days afterward. When I heard about it, I was furious. I went straight to Linda's house and knocked on her door. And this time, I didn't sugarcoat it. I told her that if she didn't stop throwing things into my yard, the next time I would collect everything and throw it straight into the trash. I told her I was tired of cleaning up her mess every week. I even said I'd put pest control around my yard to keep the frogs away if I had to. She didn't say a single word. She just stared at me and shut the door in my face. I thought that would be the end of it. But then the neighbors got involved. 3 different people came to my door later that day. One said I was too aggressive and should have handled it more politely. Another told me that Linda is older and I should be more understanding. And the third neighbor straight up called me a terrible neighbor and said I wasn't friendly enough to live here. At that point, I told him to get off my property. Now I'm left wondering, was I really wrong for finally standing up for myself and protecting my dad? Or was my neighbor crossing the line this entire time?